to ensure that the citizens understand both sides of it. And in order to get this point over and not try to take a lot of time, because we got a lot of things to do today, I'm going to give some information that a lot of people can look up and find for yourself. When we're talking about it being our official newspaper, let's take a look at the function of a newspaper. If you Google the function of a newspaper, you're going to basically find out, no matter which article or what you read, the main function is going to be to inform people. And they're going to say, in informing people, you'll find out that they say informing them so that people can be better informed for making decisions and based on facts. And that's the problem I'm having with the Port Arthur News being the official newspaper, whereby we are not given the fair opportunity for citizens to be informed of facts. Citizens should be able to decide. But when we have a newspaper that is going to give a version of it, that they're not taking the time to go and get the opposite view so that citizens can have a choice. It's no longer informing, it is misinforming. And this has not occurred since the time Mr. Rich Macke became publisher of the newspaper. I've never known a Port Arthur News to attack citizens, council, or council's decision in all of my time in the city of Port Arthur since Mr. Macke is taking over.
Just real quick, if you keep the personal names, I understand.
No, Mayor, this is the publisher of the paper, okay?
I know.
And it's dealing with that, it's dealing with the newspaper, so this is not no personal attack, this is facts, okay?
No, I understand. I'm saying that when you say Port Arthur News, we understand it's the whole everybody. So singling somebody out, I don't want us to be like.
Can you get determination on that?
Yes, because I'm talking about
I'm with you.
what's happening, and I'm giving people the exact time and when this is starting, okay? It's not no personal attack, it's the fact. I'm saying that this has started when this person became published.
That was good.
Okay, so if I say publisher and he's the publisher, it's understood.
There you go.
Okay? So, tomatoes, I want to say vegetable. Okay? Now, also, there's more people complaining about the articles that are being written as being biased and not happy with it. Now, I look at the articles. The Port Arthur News cover surrounding cities also. They cover Port Neches, Neelan, Rose, Orange. But when they do articles about those cities, their elected officials, they don't attack, they don't demean, they don't criticize. The Port Arthur News take the step of put it in there, council member by name, useless. That's totally unprofessional. If this paper is supposed to be informing citizens, and you're supposed to be trying to be fair and non-biased, you're gonna call a council member useless, and this council member has been selected 3 times by the people in the district he serves. These are what I'm talking about. And to get to the point and not take up too much time, let's talk about the 2 articles that have brought this to this point. Okay. City Secretary, you got the articles, put it up. You couldn't get it to come up? Okay, well, don't worry about it. we got a lot of stuff to do today. I can talk about it. Okay? Well, the first article was an article that appeared in the Port Arthur News dated Saturday, December the 2nd. Right in the center, big bold letter, it said, "Pricey outing for council." Pricey outing for council. All right. Webster Dictionary defines outing as outdoor pleasure trip. And if I look at that headline, that's exactly what I would think. A pricey outing, I would think they went out to an outing. But if you read the article, it's talking about the annual Texas Municipal League Conference. It's probably one of the most important conference that a councilman can attend in the state of Texas. You're not gonna say conference, pricey outing. This got to stop. Then now, Webster tells you that a conference is a formal interchange of views, a meeting of two or more persons for discussing matters of common concern. You read the article, and it even tells you some of the sessions that were held. But the newspaper went so far as placing every council member from Port Arthur who attended and what it cost. They had council members from Fort Nature's attending, Orange, Beaumont, Grove, Port Arthur. Now, why am I saying not be biased? Because if you put the cost of those individual attendants, the people from Orange probably been higher because they were traveling far to Houston. So there's no need. That same article, the Port Arthur News had already written about that, complaining, talking about council shouldn't have went. That newspaper shouldn't tell our citizens that our council members shouldn't be going to important times. Not if you want to be our official newspaper. Now, am I saying the Port Arthur News got to agree with every decision this council made? No. Am I saying that the Port Arthur News can't report that anything any one of these council members do to the public? No. But what I'm saying is, the Port Arthur News needs to make sure that what they print is a fact, and that they take the time and the effort to give the citizens enough information so citizens can make their own determination on whether it's right or wrong, they approve or disapprove. This newspaper, there's a lot of citizens that stopped the subscription because of the editorials and opinions. The publisher needs to understand that as a publisher, when you put your opinion in there and put your title, people have a tendency to believe that you're doing what newspapers do, giving them facts. They assume it's a fact because they know what newspapers do. We need to ensure that it's happening, especially if the newspaper we gonna adopt and approve as our official newspaper. I'll give you the last article, and then we're gonna let it go because of a lot of things on the agenda, and I think everybody's getting the point that I'm making here. I don't need to beat this to death. But the next article was an editorial by the publisher, dated December the 10th, Sunday, saying transparent needed in local council. transparency is needed in local council. And then the article goes on to talk about council has made decisions in the last 6 months with spending close, notice these words, close to 700. If you want to report it, go and do your information. If you do your research, you're going to know how much you're going to spend. We don't have to say close to $700,000 that was unbudgeted and unplanned expense. Well, if he wants to talk about unbudgeted and unplanned expenses, get with the finance department and get the list of everything. These are not the only things that we do that's unplanned and unbudgeted. And when we do it, it's done in this meeting, which is open, so it's transparent. But he decides that he's going to give the citizens of this city a breakdown on money that we spent unplanned and unbudgeted. One of the items being paying attorney Langston Adams $48,000. Why the city had to pay that much? If he had done his research, he would have found out. The court ordered the city to do it. The court ordered the city to do it. The city appealed, the court ordered arbitration. And it was a settlement the way we do all cases. That was $48,000. Now we're talking 700. Keep counting the money because you'll find out we ain't gonna be near no 700 in the end. Okay? The next thing he talks about is Mr. Parker's contract. Counseling of $72,000. Terminated. He tried to associate this with the city gonna have to pay more money to a attorney that during the case, when the cases he was assigned gonna have to now be redistributed. That ain't the case. If he'd done his homework, he'd have found out Mr. Parker has done very few cases. Very few. So, once again, that is false. You're misleading instead of informing, you're misinforming our citizens. Terminating that contract had nothing to do with whether our legal fees go up with the cases with the civil service, because that will be determined only on two things. One, how long the cases last and how many cases. We don't need you to misinform. Citizens want to know what's going on down there. Give them the facts though. Don't make us look incompetent by giving your opinion. He also moves along, he starts talking about the breeze, giving the breeze $30,000. What are the questions he asked in this article? Why spend $30,000? I can ask why we spend all the money we pay him to do our notices. Okay? He says, who does the station reach? It reaches citizens in Port Arthur. Everything we do may not encompass everybody, but somebody benefits from it. Councilman goes on it. City managers have appeared on there, passing out information and being questioned. Staff has been there, the different staffs.
Police chief.
Police chief. We got different people, small business communication goes there, pass out information. All this is information being passed out to citizens who want to know and can benefit from it. It doesn't have to be for everybody. But why make this a big deal? Because people you tell them, you have the ability to be able to say it and think it's going to be okay? No, everyone has to answer to someone. And he says, where some council member, wait, I'm gonna say it right. But it's where a handful of council members host weekly radio shows. There's only one council member that has a weekly radio show on that station. That's me. I've been doing it since 2013. Since 2013. Had nothing to do with me sitting here. I've been doing it. And it's only to inform citizens. And I talk about things that citizens should understand. Then we talk about elected officials. Like I said earlier, the Port Arthur News covers Beaumont, Neveland, Ponage, Roland. When it's come to elections, they'll put the candidates and their information and a picture in the newspaper. And that's all. In Port Arthur, they will put your name in there. Then they want to endorse you. Then the person they don't endorse, what they do? They start saying things about you because they didn't do it. They want to try to explain to citizens why they didn't choose you. This is supposed to be our newspaper. This is supposed to be giving citizens information so they can make their own decisions. But instead, it's like what you write is what we want you to know. That's not what newspapers do. Newspaper deals with facts. Those facts are supposed to better inform citizens so citizens can make the right decision. These two articles is the reason I brought this to the council, and I choose to make a motion for council to take actions because this is not going to be acceptable any longer in this city by us on this council. And now citizens deserve to at least have a newspaper that's going to be non-biased and going to give them facts so that they could be better informed and make better decisions. And at the end of the day, we're not asking for the newspaper to agree with everything we say. We're just asking that the information you put out, take the time and make sure that it's factual. Make sure that citizens get the chance to hear both sides and be able to be better informed. That's what it is about. So Mary, I'm gonna yield right now until everyone has discussed it, and then I'd like to make a motion.
Councilman Swati.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Doucet, do you mind sharing that article with me since it's not up on the screen? I don't have a copy of it. And sorry, I wasn't in the country, so I haven't read this article. I'm kind of curious to know what sort of action are you intending on taking regarding the matter, aside from the news articles that the PA News has been publishing, naming whomever are in these articles. My concern is more on the lines of what we're required to do by charter. And, you know, Ordinance 91-035, we've elected Port Arthur News as the city's official newspaper. There's local government code that defines what a newspaper entails. There's Article 2 of the city charter that also talks about how we're supposed to publish our ordinances or notifications or anything, serious matters that have to do with the city, actions that we're taking, so that citizens are made aware of that. So I'm more curious on the lines of what actions you intend on taking, just in response to, you know, to your concern regarding the articles that are being published in the paper, that also concerns me. It also concerns me to the sense of, we here are all elected officials, and I believe as elected officials, we should all be open to criticism and questioning at all times. It is our duty as elected officials to counter any opinion out there that someone may have that the city council is doing or not doing. For instance, you brought up, and I'm only responding to this because you brought this up, otherwise I don't like to bring this topic up at all. The court did not order to pay Langston Adams $48,000.
They did order.
The court ordered for us to go into arbitration or mediation or whatever you
Who's
want to
that?
call it. The court did not order to pay $48,000.
They ordered to pay.
This council decided to pay $48,000 for whatever those reasons are. Now, as elected officials, if we want to counter some personal person's opinion why this council would pay $48,000, then that's our job to be transparent and tell this public why we decided to pay Langston Adams $48,000. There's no response to paying $30,000 to the Breeze radio station. All your response was, why are we paying you all this money for advertisements? But I'd definitely like to know why we paid the Breeze radio station $30,000, a radio station that can't be heard throughout the entire city. I mean, if we're trying to advertise, if we're trying to publish notices, if we're trying to make the citizens aware of what this council is doing, let's at least use an avenue that's gonna reach out to the majority of the citizens. What do you refer to as non-biased news? You know, I have a very serious stand on what you would call non-biased news, because you're, I guess, social media guru on the internet calls me a terrorist and says I'm gonna declare jihad against the city. And shall I consider that non-biased news? No, you bring these points up and they're very serious to me because how they've attacked me throughout my career. And I don't feel like the Port Arthur News, you're attacking an entity because of someone's personal opinion. If someone has this personal opinion about this council or about how the city is operating things, then we should change that opinion. We should change that opinion by calling this person upon and asking him, why does he have this opinion? This is not why we're doing these things. This is not the reason why this is happening. This is not why these non-actions are taking place. So honestly, as nobody's perfect. None of us are perfect. We're council members. We're as human as everybody else in this city. But attacking an entity because your personal feelings are hurt is not the way to go about doing business. If you have a plan in mind, let's say for instance, the law states that we need to use a newspaper to publish our notices. Well, tell me what your plan is if we intend on removing Port Arthur News as our official newspaper. Tell me what your plan is, what avenue are we going to use so we stay in accordance with law? And I'd like to hear something like that, rather than badgering an entity because, you know, they're just stating opinions. And it's not even the entity, it's one person, one individual's opinions, and you're going after that. You mentioned that Port Arthur is one of the bigger clients of the Port Arthur News. So does that mean that the Port Arthur News should just publish rainbow, sunshine, and flowers all over the paper? I mean, come on guys, look around us. What's going on in our city? Let's focus on these things. This is why the newspaper is here, to remind us on what is not happening here and what we need to be doing. Let us be constantly reminded. We are all humans and we're required to be constantly reminded on what we need to be doing, what we need to be focusing on. And I feel like a personal attack against someone that works for a paper is not the way to go about doing business, not professionally, in my point of view.
Okay,
Councilman Doucet.
okay, Councilman Slide. Evidently you wasn't awake when I was talking, because I answered most of those questions that you just covered, okay? And you don't know the definition of non-biased? Non-biased is simply you're not leaning toward one side or the other side, okay? So it's obvious what that was meant. When you talk about the newspaper, you talk about attacking the newspaper for one person. That's why I said the publisher. The publisher is the head of the newspaper. The publisher is the one that determines and approves what goes in and not goes in the newspaper. So if you're gonna talk about what the newspaper does, then that's the person you're gonna hold accountable, Councilman, is the person that's in charge. It's that simple. The Breeze, you are a councilman and you're gonna take that approach about why. I can't believe it, because you ought to know you can pull the contract up. The contract of the Breeze will tell you exactly what they're supposed to do. Exactly. So everything you're talking about and asking, that's because you're not informed. But what I said speaks for itself.
I love this shit.
I'm talking about non-bias. You're talking about they're supposed to say everything good about council members, or we should be able to accept that. If you were listening to me speak, I said the paper do not have to agree with every decision we make. I specifically stated that if a councilman does something, that the paper can do it. My point is, if you're gonna write and tell both sides. If you're gonna give information to our citizens, let them know as much factual information as you possibly can. Let them make their decision based on facts, not on an opinion. And you say the newspaper, as opposed to one person, that person is the publisher. That person runs the newspaper. So that person is the person you need to hold accountable. This is nothing personal. You are all out of line for trying to make this say I'm personal. If you're listening, and you listen to what citizens are saying out there, this should not be the first time you heard nothing I said. Don't say it's personal. It's not personal. And if there's something else you want me to give you a fact about, I'll do that. Just ask the question. But the fact of the matter is, when a person reads a newspaper, they're gonna believe what they're reading, because the function and purpose of the newspaper is to inform citizens, as I stated earlier. But we're supposed to use facts. And those two articles, you say you were out of town. Where do you have them? You should have read them. They speak for themselves. You think it's okay for someone to tell the citizens that the council went on an outing and he went to a conference? You think it's okay to tell citizens, well, it's only 90 miles away, they ought to get up and drive every morning? Read the articles. Refer to other articles. Because that's all I'm saying. It's not my person. It's what's being written. And as for my motion, you don't know what my motion is. You ask me, you would like to know what my motion is. When I make it, you'll know. I'm not supposed to tell you. I said I have a motion to make. Don't sound personal.
Councilman Swipe.
Thank you, Mayor. It's nothing but personal. It's based on the facts and statements being made. You know, if a paper states that council is going on an outing and talking about how much money is being spent on an outing, I think it's the council's job to tell the public what they learn on that outing and what they gain from there and what they're bringing back to the city. But, you know, that's aside the point. I'd like to know what the motion is, and so I can make an informed judgment based on that motion.
Councilman Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, Councilman Swati, we haven't been using that process of telling citizens what we learned from the conference, but that's easy to be done. That can easily be done. That hasn't been a process. But, that could be done to the citizens. If we, choose to, we can do that. Second thing is about, the Breeze not reaching out to all the citizens. Port Arthur News don't reach out to every citizen. So, where do you measure that at? And then Councilman Swati, you're one of the ones that's never been probably talked about in Port Arthur newspaper, but I have. And I've been on this council, this is my third term, and the people elected me 3 times. But the third time when I ran, I was told to the people, I'm not the one should be at the council for this district. So a lot of articles have been written. No one contacted me. No one talked to me in regards to what I was doing for the citizens in District 1. The citizens just stood with me because they knew who had been working for them. So these type of things have been written. Councilman Swati, you've never been bashed or you've never been talked about in the newspaper as maybe not doing your job. But I have. And this is my third term, Councilman Swati, on council. Again, it's nothing personal. Because anytime Port Arthur News call me and want to discuss with me about certain issues, I have the right to do so. And I have the right to choose so. But that doesn't make me not the person to represent my constituents in my district when they have constantly elected me to 3 terms. Nothing personal, Councilman Smiley. Thank you.
Councilman Moses.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me say that there are a lot of things that we in media that you can take or let go because everybody have their opinions. I don't like personally the article that was printed. Read the article. I thought it was demeaning to us as council members because I go to conferences to learn. And definitely, Councilmember Squatty, I could certainly write what classes I attended and what I've taken back from those conferences. I don't see the same thing published about Port Nature's. I think the councilman just said Port Nature's needle in a grove as far as even football, as far as that for even our youth. So I don't see the Port Arthur News being. I don't take the paper, and it's because it's negative toward our citizens and toward the council. And I'm disappointed in what I've seen recently. But, as Councilman Swati has stated, and I don't know what the motion is that Councilman Doucet has, I'll wait to hear it, but we have to have a newspaper designated in Port Arthur. I think that the Port Arthur News needs to clean it up when talking about the city and get the facts, print facts. It's open. I think everything we have and that we do here, it's available through the city secretary's office for you to find out what actually happened. Or call somebody to talk with them that will give you the information, that will tell you what actually happened. It's not hidden. We're very transparent. Ask us, and I'll be glad to tell you rather than praying a lie. Because it's very disappointing when you take all of your heart and you work hard. This is not personal. It shouldn't be taken as a personal attack. We're talking about the city of Port Arthur. I looked at the article, threw the paper to the side. I knew what I did when I went to TML. I knew what classes I attended on Hurricane Harvey recovery. I knew exactly what I went there for, purpose and focused. So I took the article and just tossed it. As you have to do with KBMT 12, as you have to do with 12 News Now and Channel 6 and Channel 4. It's all opinionated. So we have to take the good, take the bad, and decide what we're gonna do. But we have to know what the ordinance requires for us to have in place for the city. Until there's another Port Arthur newspaper, I'd like to know the plan that we will have. I'm not gonna vote on anything unless it's going to be to enhance, to do something better for Port Arthur. Maybe we need to sit at the table with Rich Macke or whoever, the publisher, or the owner, the editor, whoever it is, and say, listen, we need a better light, better reporting on Port Arthur. What you're doing now is not working for us. We need something better said. I'm disgusted with it. When I see that, of course, again, I'm being repetitive. Port Neches, Nederland, there's nothing said negative about them ever. Not ever. But every time it comes to Port Arthur, we're dogged. No, I don't like it. That's personal, because I said I don't like it. But what's best at this time for the city is what we have to look at. What can we do to not put the city in jeopardy of the ordinance? I don't know all the particulars with that. What is the ordinance, as Swati said, 91035 is what we require to have a newspaper designated. I don't know the plan, Councilman Doucet, but we have to have a plan of action. And if you do, I would have preferred being shared or had some kind of idea of where we were going before we got to this on live TV and live here, and not understanding at that moment making a decision on a motion. I'd like to know the plan before I'm just given something here. So I've stated just that you want to know how I feel. We can't learn that in this position that we have. You can't take it personal. Some gonna like it, some not. Some gonna dog you, some won't. You just got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly, roll up your sleeves, and come to the table and see what we can do to make Port Arthur a better city.
Councilman Lewis.
You know, why don't we just call it what it really is? It's called yellow journalism. And you know, you can look down the line, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's called yellow journalism. When the truth is absent. You're not entitled to an opinion if you're not stating facts. You're not entitled to an opinion. Randolph Hearst, Joseph Pulitzer, published false articles. They published false articles. They got 379 U.S. citizens killed because they published a false article. They wrote these articles and created tension. About a ship that was going to be blown up alive. Y'all heard of the Spanish-American War. They helped create it. Killed 379 U.S. citizens. It is called, that is how yellow journalism got started. When we dealt with the voting right case, you know what helped us to win the voting right case? The exhibits that we published we put into the court was yellow journalism. The exhibits was the Port Arthur News. How they printed, it was biased, and it is continued today. I met the publisher for the first time. I was introduced to the publisher by I call him Big Ed, and he mentioned to me, we need to move our printing press and everything back to Port Arthur. Could you help us get a location? I said, well, I'll meet your publisher. He introduced me to the publisher. I met the man one time. And I told him, I said, we can probably help you with this because get with the EDC and get with Floyd Batista, and we can help you find a location to move you back. Only discussion I ever had with him. Next thing I knew, all kind of articles were being written about me. Back to, he just got here, 1980, prior to 1989. So they got a file that they keep to keep the negativism going and keep the yellow journalism going. That's what they do. That's what they do. If you're not going to print the facts, you are not entitled to an opinion. Now, the issue is the article in the city charter clearly states has nothing to do with the Port Arthur News.
Right.
Has nothing to do with a Port Arthur paper.
That's right.
It clearly states a paper, a newspaper
designated, that's right.
circulated in the Port Arthur area. That's what it says. Has nothing to do with the Port Arthur News. Now, in the past, now, if you put it
That's right.
in an ordinance, mention the Port Arthur News, and you'll find that I voted against it. Okay? But it has nothing in that charter, says nothing about the Port Arthur News. It says a paper, newspaper widely circulated in the city of Port Arthur. That's all we're required to do. We're not required to issue, pay money to Port Arthur News. Now, the Breeze, we purchased time from the Breeze. The Port Arthur News, from within a 1 year span, I haven't got the numbers. Last year, we published about annexation, $102,000. $102,000. This year, within we extended the thing. Okay, we gave them an extension. Well, at least one extension. One of the companies brought under the same umbrella. But we published it at least a couple of times this year. That's another $100,000. Well, why is it a gift? 30,000 is a gift to the Breeze.
Councilman
$100,000.
Lewis, if I could just, let's not compare the Breeze, let's just keep it to the designation of Port Arthur News. The city
Well, he put it in the damn paper.
The city
The Breeze
attorneys,
was in the article, read the article.
yes, sir, I understand, the city attorney's been on me just staying on the possible regard designation of Port Arthur.
City Attorney, you got a problem with what I'm saying?
What is posted, let me just give my answer to everybody. What is posted is to talk about the designation of an official newspaper. And so we need to stay on what's posted. So that, I'm not
It's
trying
in
to
the
cut
newspaper.
anybody off, but I'm just reminding everybody, that's the topic we have posted.
That is the posted.
We don't wanna
So
talk
you-
about
so-
other cases and
okay,
other
hold on,
issues.
man,
Yes, sir.
hold on.
That's in the
So
newspaper.
we're not to discuss what got us to this point.
Well, that's not what's posted. What's
The
posted
judge will
is,
kick you out of court if you file a case and go there and not discuss what brought you there.
that what is posted is
I understand.
the
I'm-
designation of an official
okay,
paper. Yeah, I understand you have to give background. I'm just kind of
You got
trying to
give
get us back on
You gotta give
focus.
background. That's how we
Okay,
got to
that's
this
in the
point.
paper. You're talking
But yeah,
about
the
what's
focus
in the
is
paper.
just on that.
But look, I'm not gonna beat this horse. All we got to do is, look,
When
find
the
out what the
kill on
motion's
that?
gonna be, and we vote on this motion. Okay? So that's, look, I don't have to deal with this.
Thank you, Councilman Lewis. Councilman Swati.
Thank you, Mayor. Finally, I'd just like to say, the First Amendment to the United States Constitution says, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. Freedom of speech is the liberty to speak openly without fear or government restraint. We as a council cannot block, censor, or shut down an entity within the city because of our personal feelings are hurt or affected. And so at this time, I would love to hear the motion that Councilman Doucet would like to bring forward.
I got one, Mayor Pro Tem, you haven't spoken yet, I don't know if you had something for the topic.
Yes, Mayor. No reflection on, whoever got endorsed by the PA News, no reflection. I'm glad for him, happy for him. I tried hard to get endorsed. I went there several times, talked to a good friend of mine, Ed Kessler, and, I worked in corporate for 29 years, spent a lot of money to put out the news. I did all the right things to get endorsed, still couldn't get endorsed, so whoever got endorsed, I'm happy for him. But, whoever didn't get endorsed, caught hell then and catching hell now from the news. Okay, that's not going away. And the news has been very divisive to the city. And I wish the black citizens, the white citizen, Hispanic, Vietnamese and others could see that this paper has been very, very divisive. I mean, you look at it, this on the island, supposedly island in Houston, Walmart went, Galveston went, Walmart, Orange, Hope area, we was singled out, Port Arthur, okay? And that Councilman Moses said about for nation, even in sports, I follow sports heartily, that's my pet peeve. When Memorial's winning these big games, front line on the sports page, Leland Bulldogs, Four Nations Blue Indians, more way in the back page. And that's supposed to be a pro out the paper. And Memorial High School's in Port Arthur, not leaving the roads. You know, all this kind of stuff, you know. And then, went to Houston to see if we could have drove back and forth 90 miles, coming back every day, yeah, and all that traffic and the inconvenience of us, you know. Anyone want to say about 5 or 6 to be gone next year and 18, why they had to go, you know, that's council business, not Port Arthur news business, you know. So, I want to have a council Doucet, motion, and I'm almost 150% along with it.
Okay, that's, I'll make my comments for it. Guys, I appreciate, you know, bringing it forward, but, I've taken heat from Port Arthur News, I take it from, The Breeze, I take it from everybody. So, I've learned that it comes along.
Frank Porter,
Yes, sir.
when you took some heat from the Port Arthur News.
Okay, I'll talk about it. In the article, I was listening to what you're talking about. I don't know what you're saying. It's like I'm the first one on the city outing. So, but again, like I was saying, if I could just make my comment without interruption, I didn't interrupt anyone else. So again, I take it from both sides, and although sometimes I don't agree, sometimes it may tug at a personal feeling. I understand that this is part of the job. We're public servants, and for us to, part of the charter is we have to post things in the paper with the largest circulation. So my encouragement is they're a business, and part of what they make their money is with circulation. And if their circulation is up and the circulation is, they're getting the money that the consumers want, or what they need, or whatever you want to say, however you want to classify it. The consumers are talking because they have the circulation there. So if we had another paper in the city of Port Arthur that had a larger circulation, that means that the consumers, the citizens that we're so worried about, that we've all been talking about, have made their decision on who they want to spend their money with, what business that they want to provide them with information in the city of Port Arthur. So it's enterprise, it's free enterprise. And Councilman Swati talked about the constitutional rights as far as free speech. But again, everybody
government
takes
free
it.
speech.
They
It's
say
not
things
public.
on both sides, from every media outlet, from online, offline, TV, film, print. We get it from everywhere. So to single somebody out on personal feelings, I just think is the wrong thing. And again, and especially Triangle Days. Nobody talks about that, but every 2 years, Councilman Lewis, I get ran up for Golden Triangle Days. Everybody up here, every 2 years gets run up for that. So I get it every year. I get it, and the articles are predictable. As soon as we do this, here comes this article. So again, it just seems like this is some type of a personal thing where we need to all put our big boy pants on, no matter where it comes from, KBMT to the print. And do realize that we have to do a job for our citizens no matter what, and do the best that we can. So I would encourage people to buckle up the pants today. Councilman Doucet.
I'm gonna do my motion.
Yeah, go ahead. There's no other light. Oh, Councilman Scott White. I'm sorry. Did you have something on it?
Yeah, I have something on it, Mayor.
What you got?
This
Big
is
boy
not,
pants.
this is not about any big boy things.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
First of all, go out the news on the paper here. They had some competition, they might not be our choice.
They have a few different newspapers.
Like I said, that's
They just don't have the circulation.
Excuse me,
Yeah, I'm interrupting. I'm sorry.
thank you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, because you're sitting there in your chair. Okay? So, what I'm saying is, yes, Port Arthur News has been the one getting our business. But again, Mayor, this is not about big boy pants, this is not about personal. So many facts have been given today, and it has not been personal at all, okay? It's been about Port Nature's Grove, with the Grove, we got these other surrounding cities that do the same thing we do, okay? But there is no negative comment about how they do it and why they do it. So, this is not anything personal. If we're paying a paper, and we're putting money into this newspaper, and one of the biggest funding for the newspaper, then the newspaper should hear what we have to say. And we're asking them to hear what we say, okay? And nobody's trying to stop anybody, the Constitution, nobody's trying to do that at all. That's not even here. So I don't even understand why that even comes about the Constitution. This is not about us stopping no one in their rights. It's about hearing us today as council members, as a city who paid a numerous amount of money to a newspaper, but yet we don't get the same treatment as anybody else around us. This is just all about, not no big boy pants, okay? So, all this rhetoric, let's leave it alone. We just want the newspaper to hear us saying, we don't think that this is fair, we're being fair. So talk to us, show us. That's what we said today,
Vote.
okay? That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Scott, just to add to it, if that was the only statement that was made from the dais today, then I would agree with you. Then let's move forward. There are other people. I talked to several other mayors, the mayor of Groves, the mayor of Orange, the mayor while we were at TML. So other people were there, yes, sir. But when we start talking about who gets endorsed and how many times they attacked me and who, it starts to sound personal, not to me, but to people that are listening. So I'm just advising us, I'm just saying for us,
Go ahead.
with the personal, let's keep that to the side. If you want to say, let's get some fair exposure for all the surrounding cities, everybody that's in your circulation, let's make sure you're doing, getting them some time. Let's keep it there. But when we start talking about, I've been on 3 years and I never got endorsement and they did this, it just sounds personal.
I never
Let's
said
not
endorsement.
get no
I said I've been on
here 3 years.
I said I've been on three
years.
terms. Listen to what I said again, because you use this rhetoric, you use it again.
No, I'm
Okay?
repeating
I
what
said
you
I've
said.
been on council.
Yeah,
This
said
is
I'm
my
again,
third time being elected on council. No one talked to me about what my plans are or what I was doing for the city, for the citizens, my constituents. They just said the other candidate was better and I wasn't worth anything.
That's it.
Hold on for a second.
That's personal.
So that's personal.
I can't have anything from
Excuse
the audience.
me. So I'm saying, I didn't bring it personal. That's what we tried to show today, that a lot of personal stuff has been put in the newspaper, and we want to stop it. That's all it is, Mayor, okay? So, that's what we're talking about today. That's all we're talking about. I'm not saying who they supported, I'm saying, if you would have talked to me and understood what my plans and what I've been doing for my constituents, but you have not, but you come to agreement that I'm not the right person for this district when the citizens have chosen me two consecutive times and a third time. So you want to stay away from the personal stuff, but the personal stuff is in the newspaper. Okay? So don't talk to me about staying away from the personal stuff. I'm not being personal. I'm just saying facts.
Okay, so
Thank
so the thing you're asking today is for the Port News to stop printing personal stuff?
Excuse me.
Yeah, you know.
I'm through with it, man.
Point of order.
Thank you.
I'm through with it.
Point of order.
Okay?
Just because you're through doesn't mean I'm through.
No.
You can't cut
I'm
me
just saying,
off.
don't ask me a
You asked me a
question.
question.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, well, you don't have to answer, but I'll still ask it.
Okay.
If you don't mind. So your question today is, we're asking the Port News to stop printing personal stuff? You don't have to answer. Councilman Doucet.
Okay, Mayor, I'm gonna tell you, if everyone that's listening, you go back and review this, I never said anything personal. I gave you all facts. My whole item and discussion was that the Port Arthur News was not being fed the printing. That's what I've said. I said it throughout. I gave examples for people to identify with. Now, everybody's they talk about personal. It wasn't personal. It was about the facts. There's two things that got us here today. One is that a newspaper is supposed to inform citizens so they can make better decisions based on facts. That's the first thing. And I brought you articles where the newspaper didn't do that. So that was my point. As far as saying we can't stop him from pressing, or I've heard, well, I want to hear, we should have talked about this before. No, we shouldn't have talked about this before. This item just came before us. What you need to do is, everyone needs to listen to what is being said, then make decisions. I said I had a motion to make. Everybody has talked about ideas of what I'm gonna move. I haven't made the motion. We mentioned ordinance. I know ordinance, probably better than most on this dais. And freedom of press, I understand that. So at the end of the day, after all discussion, my motion is that the council direct that the city attorney sends a letter to the owners of the Port Arthur News expressing our concerns that the articles that are being written, that they be fair, non-biased, and non-attacking of this city, as it has in the past. And that a video of this meeting be sent along with it, so that owner can hear everything that was said up here today. So it's not the idea of trying to stop them from printing. It's not the idea of trying to stop them from not opposing what we said. It's from what I brought up in the beginning, being fair and non-biased. That's the whole thing about what I wanted. So I never intended on trying to say don't use the newspaper. The newspaper is important to our community, very important. The owners are the ones that's gonna be responsible, you see.
And Councilman Doucet, I have a second for that, for your motion. I'll give you the second, there you go. Questions on the motion, Councilman? Hold on, wait a minute, I got, everybody clicked on the light at once, I didn't know, were y'all talking or trying to second the motion? You're trying to second, okay. You want, Councilman, well, Councilman Swatty's right before you, go ahead, Councilman, when you to Councilman Lewis.
Look, I just want to remind the chair, anytime the chair gets involved in a debate, you have to release the chair. You can't occupy both spaces. You have to release it to the mayor pro tem. You can't do what you're doing. The city attorney, you need to bring up to date on the rules.
Need to be on parliamentary procedure, that's right.
Please, up to date, both of us. Thank you. Councilman Swatty.
You need to,
Mayor.
he told you, right.
Now, I'd like some clarification on what kind of notice we're putting Port Arthur News on. So
I just
who
told you.
establishes what's fair? Who establishes what's non-biased? Who establishes what's non-attacking? Does this council establish that?
Definition.
So basically, and let me just answer that. I guess this council is going to establish what's going to be fair, non-biased, and non-attacking. So the council puts the Port Arthur News on notice that you are not going to print articles that are unfair, biased, and attacking towards the city of Port Arthur. And if you don't call that fear of government restraint, I don't know what you're going to call fear of government restraint. So, city attorney, before you send a notice to Port Arthur News, why don't you check what our city legal limitations are
You
on
didn't
putting
make no
someone on
motion.
that kind of
There's no
notice?
motion for that.
Let's work through this.
No motion.
No,
No, point of order, point of order.
I'm not in favor of
You can't
any
do that.
notice.
All
You
you
don't
gotta
have
do
a
is vote,
motion.
Councilman.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
I'll be happy to do whatever directive, follow through with any directive the council gives. I may have some legal concerns that I can express to you at the appropriate time and under the appropriate posting, but I'll be happy to follow through and work on a draft, and prior to sending that, I may have some legal questions that I'd like to discuss with you all about that. But we can do that in the appropriate form. But I will work on the draft, and like I said, I may have some legal questions that I would not like to hold up in an open session, but I'll work on that. I'll be happy to follow the council's directive. I just may have some legal issues
Okay,
to talk to you about.
Mayor Pro Tem.
And the manager will work with me on that too.
Well,
Yes, Mayor, it's only a letter that Councilman Doucet recommended we send. It's
It's a letter with legal implications.
Yeah, I mean, it's a letter. Council, if the council agreed to send it, then we'll worry about the legal repercussions or whatever comes up. But here we go again, being divisive, you know. Just like America, divided, now cross divided. And we got people dividing us, you know. So, be careful, council people, be careful, citizens. We I didn't get it, but, we got a motion to approve, we got a second, I think we're just gonna vote on that motion.
Councilman Doucet.
Yes, we're gonna vote on the motion, but, once again, city attorney, I made a motion that we send a letter to the owners of this newspaper stating concerns
That's right.
about articles
That's right.
being written that
There's
are
no
negative
constitutional issue involved.
about the city, and that we ask that information being given to citizens be given more of a factual nature than an opinionated nature. Now, I could get more specific, but what? Sending a letter expressing a concern is not legal implication, not expressing a concern. If we send a letter saying we're gonna cancel a contract, we're gonna do, are you telling me that a letter of concern is legal? Well, that is, well, stick with what my motion is, and don't.
Yeah, implicate other shit, yeah.
I'm not throwing your motion out, no, I said I'll be happy to comply with what the council has asked. If I have some other questions, we can talk about it later, but I'll be happy to comply, get the draft, and get it the way you all want it.
All
But
right.
I may have some sidebar things to talk about, and I just wanted to let you know that. But I don't have a problem with
Well,
what
we're
you
gonna have to
asked.
approve the letter anyway
You have to
before you
approve the
send
letter,
it.
right, and
So
those- there
I
may be some things
understand
to
that.
talk about.
Okay.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
all, thank you.
Okay.
So we're in the middle of a motion now. Just real quick, Councilman Doucet, I seconded the motion because I think, my understanding is we're gonna send a video of this meeting, and just send the letter as,
Yeah, man.
There shouldn't be anything in the
And
letter. This
see-
meeting should be
and
adopted.
see, that's the purpose
No,
of sending the video, because the, individual will get a chance to hear what people had to say and everything, so that pretty much explains it.
but that's what I'm saying about the letter. I don't even, back to Councilman Swati, the attorney's thing on putting stuff in the letter.
No,
That's
I-
really what
no,
implications.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I didn't say that, all I said is
Just getting it
expressing our concerns that it's not being fair. And
That's what
the video is gonna be the telling thing, that's why I.
You
put
stated on that video is,
Yeah, you know.
the letter,
Right.
from my understanding, the letter is City of Port Arthur, attached is a video of our past
Yeah,
meetings of
something
what
of
we
that
had,
nature.
but us giving caveats.
Oh,
and
no,
ramifications, that's
I'm
not.
I'm not.
Your
into that.
concern.
The video will speak for itself.
Okay. Councilman Lewis.
City attorney, along with that video, it's all public record.
That's it, that's what.
Send the tape, because things happens with video, information is lost, I've experienced that. Send the tape as the backup.
You're saying transcribed audio tape? What are you asking for now, Councilman?
A fucking
You're
tape.
asking for a lot of stuff right now.
You just, what I'm saying, you send the tapes of the meeting, not the minutes, the tape, that's taking the minutes, the actual detail of everything that's been discussed here, was supposed to be recorded like that. Send that too.
So you want that too? You want the video and the audio tape?
It's not
and
rocket
the
science,
record?
that's what I said.
All right.
Boy,
Let's
Lord,
clear our motion
shit.
up, y'all. Let's clear our motion up on what we're
Shit.
motioning right now. We're motioning to send the video of this. Councilman Doucet, help me out. We're sending, your motion is to send the video with the letter that says,
Hey, whatever council thinks that we need to, send, my motion is just that we send something, to express our concerns. Those who have a concern, not all councilmen have a concern from what I heard today, but those who have concerns, I'm quite sure our concerns are generated from what citizens also, and what we hear out in the public. So I'm not gonna dictate the motion anymore. I've made the motion, so if any councilman wants to contribute to cleaning it up, then I'm amenable to that.
okay, how can, if I could, the motion be, that we direct staff to send a copy of this, meeting, video, digital record, audio record, right, Councilman Lewis, with a transmittal letter It says the city of Port Arthur with a letterhead. This is type of discussion, put the item number down.
Directed to review.
Yes, exactly. We ask that you review.
Don't let them change the damn letter.
That's fine.
Okay.
Don't let them change the
All right. Councilman Swati.
Thank you, Mayor. So we started with stopping the PA news from unfair, bias, and attacking to addressing our concerns now. And if we rewind this tape, and about 45 minutes ago, I may have said that if we have a problem with something being published in the paper, let's pick up the phone, let's call them, let's talk to them, and let's say, hey, this is wrong, you need to correct this.
Well, you sending a
And we
letter.
could've done that 45 minutes ago, that's fine, this is how.
Well, you sending a
You
letter.
didn't say that. You
I'm
probably, you
okay
criticized
with
talking
the
about you
motion
wanted to
of
hear the
addressing
damn
our
motion. You
concerns
wanted to hear his
to the
motion.
right people with Port Arthur most.
Councilman Lewis.
Councilman Swart, what you have to understand, the reason they write these false yellow journalism is to try to provoke council into responding to what they are putting, what the yellow journalism is bringing, in order to create a debate to try to sell more newspapers. And I have been refusing to respond to that. You write it one time, it dies.
All right, that was a lengthy discussion. To make sure we have a long enough tape to send the video. Good. There's a motion on the floor. Do I have I seconded actually. Motion accompany, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposals? Ayes have it. All right, now, we'll move to consent. If the councilors, if there's any items you'd like to hold